Well, good morning. We're here in the Las Colinas Ritz-Carlton for the 10th anniversary of Board of Advisors, and we've got a tremendous group here of over 100 people that have been with us, some for 10 years and some for 10 months and some for 10 weeks. So we're having a really good time this week. So Carl Gould, my good friend, is the CEO of 7-Stage Advisors and a terrific businessman, has an incredible amount of experience in basically every business that involves people or systems. So I want to welcome him here this morning. We're going to chat about business and friendship and all those good things. So glad to see you, Carl.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for having me. This is great. And congratulations on 10 years.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
it's flown by. You know, I was a member of Board of Advisors, one of the founding members, and spent the first 9 years being a really loyal member. And Mike Calhoun founded the company 10 years ago, and he just was such an excellent networker and able to help me with my businesses through those years that I was always going to continue to be a member. And then I sold my company in January, as you know, and Mike and I got to talking, and all of a sudden we decided to put this plan together and take the great company that he'd built and make it bigger and greater. So myself and my C-suite came over. It was a real force multiplying event. And so now we've got, I'm the CEO, and we've got a new CFO, Christy Pasquale, and a COO, Kevin Killer. Yeah, and we've all worked together for so many years, we finish each other's sentences. So it's great. And now Mike is just having the time of his life because he loves the members, he loves the people, and he just, he can spend his time doing that and doing what he loves and he's so great at.
He does what he's best at. And how cool is it for Mike and for Board of Advisors to install a management team that not only can do the job, because you guys can definitely do the job, but you also understand the business, the culture. Mm-hmm. You were a client, you're a member, but you're a client, so you understand what the client experience is and what would make a great experience. So how cool is it for the company that a former client comes in with his management team, says, I'd like to buy into this thing and help you scale it.
Yeah, we had to put a thesis together on that. I don't know if it's ever been done, but that's a great point. I hadn't thought of it that way. That's awesome. Yeah. So, man, you guys are just doing. You were telling me the other night at dinner that all the things that 7 Stages has their hands in, and I mean, you're just going crazy helping people too on your side, right?
Yeah, it's always been, I started coaching in 1990 and the business, and I had a private practice through the 90s, and I worked with Tony Robbins and Stephen Covey and Ken Blanchard in the Dale Carnegie leadership. And I was certified in every coaching methodology you can imagine, DISC, NLP, and on and on and on. And then the business that I have today is 7-Stage Advisors. I launched that in 2002 when, so I'm coaching people through the 90s, and they said, this is going really well. Do you know a sales trainer? Do you know a marketing person?
Sure.
Do you know an ops person? Do you know somebody who can help me with my cash flow? And so since I was getting these requests over and over again, I assembled a full team. So when we go and meet with a client, we meet as a full team. So a bolt-on C-suite, if you will. So that's why I love the story about Board of Advisors, because you're a bolt-on C-suite. You came right in like, here we are. Mm-hmm. Here we are. Let's scale you. That's essentially what 7-Stage Advisors does with its clients.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And you have that same intrigue. You've been doing this most of your life. Yeah. I've been doing entrepreneur stuff most of my life. And so it's really fun to go to work in the morning because you're going to meet with entrepreneurs that have challenges or opportunities they're trying to take care of. So it's kind of like getting up with a fun puzzle that you're really good at.
Right.
And we get to watch and I know you've had tremendous success stories with your clients, and we've had tremendous successes in our room with our BA members. And man, you see those big wins, and you realize that you were at least a small part of it. And, and that's just so rewarding and different almost every day, right?
It's so cool to watch everybody grow because I've been here now 7 years. I was introduced to Board of Advisors through another member. So a conversation that I remember from 3 or 4 years ago, which percolated into a business idea, which percolated into a capital raise, which percolated into execution. And, I've seen some businesses go from cradle to exit, here right in front of my eyes. But every quarter when we meet, I get the latest update and how things are going. So it's really nice to watch things progress. And it's also, I learn from others because each quarter, some people come back with some road rash too. It's not all like, hey, everything went perfectly this past quarter. It's, hey, we tried this, not doing that again. And that didn't go so well. And so you get the full scope, which is what I like. It's very authentic, and it's the sort of conversations you don't normally get outside. So that's what I like about a group like this.
Yeah, I noticed this week that people were starting to, I heard it from several people, and I could tell that they're using our quarterly meetings sort of to hold themselves accountable.
Right.
And, they know they're going to come back, and they know they're going to talk to the people that advised them, 75 or 90 days ago, and they do feel, they do feel accountable for that, which, most CEOs of medium-sized companies or even small companies don't have that accountability necessarily with a board and so forth. So we serve that purpose. Where and it's interesting. There's some pretty aggressive interaction with that process where some of the seasoned folks in our room are saying, "Wait a minute, you weren't doing that last quarter. That wasn't when you left here." They come in with their copious notes. So it's really a great process to keep that discipline in place.
Yeah, and this whole mastermind structure and format. We were talking before we got started. This was, the other cool part is I've been around and I've been in the industry long enough that when it was in its formative stages, I was lucky enough to be able to help and create some of the things that are happening today. So 20 years ago, Roger Salam of the Winner's Circle was really the person who ushered in, the modern day mastermind. But myself and a guy by the name of John Goldman, we helped Roger put together the structure and the architecture of what is today the modern mastermind and what we see at Board of Advisors. So when we're sitting in and we're watching the various activities go on, people are doing forums over here and synergy spheres over there and board panels and other small groups, you start to see this mastermind concept really flourish and really take off to the next level. So that's exciting to see how not only has this group evolved, but the industry and the concept and the format itself, evolve over time. So it's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's I haven't been there in the business for 20 years. I've been in it for 10, but I learned something more about the history and how deep the roots are of networking organizations. Yeah. You call it mastermind, we call it BA beyond a mastermind because it's so personal, it's so intimate, and the relationships are phenomenal that get built. But we really think of it as an advisory group for the rest of the members, and certainly would fall into that business category. But yeah, I've heard some neat stories about the old days, if you will, in the industry, and I think you've experienced it as I have. And the most important aspect of a successful business is the relationships. I mean, it's saved my companies. And it's made my companies just having that right relationship at the right time. Yeah. And I watch it happen all day long in here. And if it's the one introduction sometimes, or it's the 10 introductions sometimes that completely reshape your business or save your business. And it's just so hard to even see it coming sometimes. And that's what I really love about it, because you have effect. And whether it's a call in the middle of the night saying I need help because I got a problem, or it's a call in the middle of the night to say, I just landed a big deal and I have no idea how to execute it. I
caught the tiger by the tail. I don't know which one's more scary, right? Because if you catch the tiger by the tail, you've got one shot to fulfill, and they're not coming back if you don't do it. But same thing, if things don't go your way and all of a sudden you find yourself in the weeds, Yeah.
And when you're in those weeds, and we've all been there, it's not a clear line of sight, and you need help. You need advisors. You need people like you and me to be able to say that have been in that seat and navigated through and say it's not going to end today.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath and let's
step back from it. Right. So if you're in the situation, you're in the jar, so you can't read the label, but we can step back and say, wait a minute, I could see, I've got full view of what you're going through right now.
It's a great expression.
You know what I mean? And so we can say, whoa, you think you have this problem, but that's not what we're seeing. Let's give you our perspective. Why don't we, and then hear what we have to say, and then decide what problem you have. So we're actually solving the right problem.
Right. No, I love that expression.
Yeah, right?
That's great. Yeah, and then just helping them keep a steady hand on the wheel, because we've seen businesses go up and down, and we've ran businesses that go up and down, and you know that you're going to get to the other side. You don't know exactly how, hour one, day one, but if you keep a calm head and a steady hand, it usually comes out good the other end. So.
Well, what I tell my clients all the time is, you've got this great idea, you launch your idea, we need to get proof of concept. We got to make sure that you know your market, you know how to price it, how often they're going to buy, what the duration is it profitable, can I deliver, consistency, all that, right? But then once you have that, you have to build a team that can help you sustain that over time. And I said, there's 3 basic criteria. Criteria number 1, they've got to be adults. Right? No drama, come to work. They don't bitch and complain that they've got to put clothes on and, come to an office and commute, right? And they can play well in the sandbox with others. They got to be an adult. Number 2, they've got to be organized, right? It can't be like that scene from A Beautiful Mind with Post-it notes all over the place, like you're a crazy person. You know how to use a computer, you know how to use a pen and paper, you know how to conduct a meeting. You got to be organized. And the third one is you get stuff done. Right? You get in, you're a solution-minded, outcome-driven person, and you just like to get things done because you enjoy the fruits of your labor when you see things working. So an adult, organized, gets stuff done, and that's what BA has now as its membership. These are all people who meet those 3 criteria. So they've got all the road rash and all the bumps and bruises to show for it, but they've gotten stuff done. And usually good results oftentimes come from bad circumstances. So, what I love is I'll be talking to somebody who said, well, listen, this is the mistake I made, so you don't have to make it. So I think of a lot of the members as, part of my board, if you will, but also my time machine. Because I don't have to go through the 6 months of pain that you went through because you just gave me the feedback so I can avoid it.
Right.
So to me, it's a little bit of both.
And we spend a lot of time now focusing too on the menu that's in the room, if you will, the menu of how to build a business or order a business, and it's really neat. If you were an entrepreneur or wanted to be an entrepreneur, maybe you're a retired executive and are looking for your next business venture, we really tried to stack the deck in there, where everything from from business ideas to business plans to modeling the plan to going to market to raise the capital to opening the business and the branding and the marketing, the operational side, the logistics side, the reporting side, financial side, legal's back in here somewhere, right? You got the trademark attorney, Rich is the trademark attorney on the front side, and then we've got Stan in there as the business attorney. So you can really, out of that group, that's your yellow pages for opening and building and growing and selling a business, and tax mitigation guys. So it's really a menu that's in there that you can, I think I said it maybe at the last meeting, you can go home and fire all your local professionals because they're all right here.
They're all here. Yeah. And one of the things that I was very vocal about is BA has a 5-day-a-week model, whereas most masterminds are 2 or 3 days. And one of the things I love about the 5-day model is exactly what you just said. I like to come into a meeting every time with a set of goals. I review the entire directory before I come. Who am I likely to meet with? What were my conversations from last time? I typically have somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 50 follow-ups in between. And so I'm having conversations in between the quarterly meetings, but then me and my team sit down and I say, okay, what were my follow-ups from last time? What is the status of them? And based on where we're at right now, who do I need to be meeting with? And I set a plan for the whole week. That's why I come for the whole week. And I like the idea of saying, all right, who am I going to make sure that I check in with? And so I'm contacting them before I even get to the meeting. And so I'm using it as an expedited research, due diligence on my business idea, because I see way too many times people will come in and either try to raise capital too early, or they don't have proof of concept, or there's something wrong in their valuation, or they're not asking for enough money. Oh, I'm asking for $500,000. You need $2 million. What are you talking about $500,000? So I learned this lesson a long time ago. I was coaching the former CEO of Winnebago. And he's the guy that took Winnebago public. He's the guy that took them from not number one in the market to number one and kept them there. And he said to me, he goes, when I took Winnebago public, I had to go every quarter to New York and meet with the analysts. And he said, I was so excited one time, we killed our goals. We were on a growth trajectory. I was so proud of, happiest day of my life as a CEO, went in and I proudly announced that we overshot our projections. And he goes, and I got killed for that. The analysts beat the snot out of me. And he goes, I learned a big lesson there. He said, they were happy that we were on a good trajectory, but they gave me a hard time for not knowing that we were on that trajectory. He goes, they said to me, how do you not know your numbers that you were going to come back in here thinking it was some great surprise? And he said, I learned a really big lesson. He goes, what I think is really good isn't necessarily what the market thinks is really good. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I now know that if I'm plus or minus 5% variable, he goes, that's my metric that I don't know enough about my business and what my results are and what my market is responding to me. He goes, if I'm on either side of my projection by more than 5%, he goes, I need to circle back and take a deep dive in my business so I can know it well enough to know that I can report on my earnings properly. He goes, I never again went a plus or minus 5% variable on what my projections were. He goes, I got so much better as a CEO for going to New York and getting my butt kicked, from that time forward. I thought that was fascinating because I would have been like, yeah, we killed it, Mm-hmm. And he goes, no, I got my head handed to me as a CEO for not knowing my business well enough.
Yeah, that's interesting. The lonely life of a CEO, right?
Oh, my God.
I know you're doing a session with the group here tomorrow, which they're excited about, the confessions of a CEO. And in fact, I think we were together the other night. I told my wife, Julie, that she can't go listen to your presentations. I've got to have a secret or two. So.
Yeah, there's got to be some mystery. What she didn't tell you was she wrote it for me.
Okay. Oh, boy.
She already knows.
That's going to be news to me then, right? That's super.
She's 4 steps ahead of both of us.
Yeah, that's great. But yeah, when you're talking about the raising capital, I was talking to a couple of people in here last night, and that's a common mistake because a lot of people will put together their model and then they'll actually, maybe they're looking for $500,000 or $5 million. And then what they'll do is say, well, it's probably, if I think I can maybe get it done on 100,000 or 4 million, and that must be easier. And a seasoned investor is going to, they want to see how sounds the model. What are the proof points? That,
right.
and how much money do you need? What's your burn rate going to be? Okay, and then you come back and say, what if your burn rate ends up being 20% higher, right? Building a business is like remodeling your house. It's going to take twice as long and cost
once
twice
you've got
as
it to
much,
the studs,
right?
You now know what you've got.
Exactly.
Right.
So a seasoned investor is going to want to see there's plenty of run rate, based on their burn rate. They're going to, to get to the profitability levels. And the I shouldn't say typical, but a lot of entrepreneurs I've seen to go raise capital, and they think they've got to blow up the acceleration in the numbers a little bit and lower the ask. And a good investor is going to see right through that and say, wait a minute, that's not enough. If you were asking for $5 million instead of $4 million, or 500,000 instead of 400,000, and you just said it was going to take 24 months instead of 18 months to cross over, then I'd have probably been in. If they
because I would have trusted that you thought through the risk mitigation.
Exactly.
Of this.
You didn't try to skate me through the best possible scenario because that usually doesn't happen. So I think
so I'm going to give you my money. You haven't really thought it through well enough. My money's going to dry up. You have nothing behind that, and then you're going to go ask for money when you're in a weak position. You're not going to get it, or you're not going to get enough, or you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And now all of a sudden my investment's gone because you haven't thought through your model enough.
Mm-hmm. And or you're asking for more money, which is almost worse, unless it's pre-disclosed that you're going to need another round at a certain time. Right. Then you've proven that you've thought through the process.
Yeah.
So.
Here's my first tranche. Here's my second. So that's some of the mistakes that I'll see people will make coming into a mastermind is they haven't done the proper preparation. So we plan for a vacation a lot more thoroughly than we plan
Right.
for a business sometimes. And so that's a mistake that I'll see. What I like about our group is our group will let you know that you are too early.
Yeah,
Here's what you need to clean
up. I got
up.
mentioned to a couple of people yesterday, didn't it? So, but that's great. I even talked to some of those people that were kind of on the hot seat when Kevin Harrington was up there, and I think Stan Padgett chimed in there, and Brian Wrigley's up there, and there's horsepower sitting there giving you advice, and the conversation went like, hey, that's a valuable conversation you're having, so let's be really prepared for it. And there's a lot to that, so that's great. Well, that's just super. So now the other advantage we've got is that we can boat in the winter in Florida on mine, and we can boat in the Northeast on yours
on mine
in the summertime. So
we've got everything covered.
That's right. So we're looking forward to more of that and continuing to build our relationships with our companies. I know you help some of our members. I know some of your clients are members of ours.
Yeah, that's right.
So that all works out good because we're really all for the greater good of entrepreneurship and capitalism and all those great things. So, well,
we could create, and I've seen businesses incubate that didn't even exist before. So one of the things that I like is I might provide my services to another member. A member might provide services to me or to one of my clients, which is good because I get a chance to see them in action, and then I can vet them and bring them to my clients. But one of the things that I thought was pretty cool is I've seen a number of businesses be conceived and incubated and grown right from the group. So one of the things that I like about the mastermind, the original idea behind the mastermind was that 1 and 1 will equal 3. Put two people together or put a small group together and they start iterating and brainstorming around an idea. All of a sudden, something new can come of that idea.
Yeah, and it's just having those conversations. And one of the things that I really implemented strongly since I got here was, the other thing, you're around like-minded people. And the more hours of the day and the more conversation and friendships and relationships that you build, the more value you get out of any organization. So we started adding fun to it. It's all successful people here. It's all people that can afford to be here and want to be here because they want to improve themselves and their business. But it doesn't mean you have to have the drudgery of 10 hours a day of listening to speeches.
Right.
So we try to mix it up during the day in panels and forums and one-on-one exchanges and 10-on-10 exchanges and all that. But then we also add fun to it because sometimes at the fun events, the boating events.
That's where the business gets done.
Exactly.
What's the expression? More business gets done in the hallways than in the classroom.
Right. This week we took a big group out to Monday Night Football. The Cowboys and Cardinals were playing, and everybody had a blast. But it's half business and half whether their bets are coming through or not. And then we have neat mixers every night in different forums. Jay Claver's kind enough to let us use his facility out there, and that's an amazing experience for people. And tomorrow we're playing the Byron Nelson TPC out here. So we're just trying to make it a great week because that's what it should be. That's why we're entrepreneurs and leaders of companies, because we're trying to have fun in our life, right?
Right.
And we picked.
Well, that's why we got into entrepreneurship, so we can kind of create our own destiny here and be in control of our schedules. But at the same time, we're taking care of everybody 99% of the time. So it's nice to be taken care of.
Right.
At least that other 1%.
Yeah. So that's making it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just been awesome. So let's do this every quarter when we're out here, and of course we see each other in between that. And it's great to be your friend. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
All right, Carl.
Thanks, buddy.